anyways, to the storyline of this movie. And everyone who's seen this movie, it usually brings this up at least once. This movie starts and I thought we had a broken copy, because the first shot of the movie is for those of you who walked in late, and I was like, which turns into the symbol of the big villains. But it was like, it just fucking started.
You know why they do that, right?
Why is that?
Because that was the way that the original writer would start every comic.
Okay, see,
for those who came in late, plus it was like when we last left the Phantom, he was hanging precariously over the lake. It was like that.
See, I've never gotten the chance to read any of the Phantom comics, so I did not know that. Thank you. Okay, years of what the fuck I've now been laid to rest.
I did a little research on that because I thought that was a reference to another movie I saw ages ago. I was like, and I was just like, which now I can't even remember. So it was driving me nuts why they did that.
Right. So. But thank you. Now we know. But no, this movie starts off with kind of a breakdown of how our hero works. Start off in the 16th century. A young boy watches his father be killed by the evil Cabai Sang, who is the leader of the Sang Brotherhood, which will basically be our last-minute villains in this movie, but we'll get to that. The boy escapes after watching his father get murdered, washed ashore on the island of Bengala, where the local tribesmen find him, take him to their village. There he is given the skull ring. And he swears to devote his life to the destruction of piracy, greed, cruelty, and injustice, and adopts the identity of the Phantom. The role of the Phantom is then passed on from father to son through 400 years, leading people to believe in a single immortal figure. This gives us our backstory on the Phantom, and then we smash cut to 1938, where it literally looks like an Indiana Jones movie. You know, has broken out on the set, and we're going to film it. But the Phantom stops a bunch of grave robbers who steal this skull that is supposed to be revered to have superpowers. The lead villain who's going to be continually a pain in the ass is Quill, who is played by James Remar. And while the Phantom is fighting Quill, he sees the symbol of the Sang Brotherhood spiderweb on his arm, but also sees the gun belts, much like the one he carries, which gives Quill enough time to punch him, giving us our scene from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and the Falling Bridge. They escape, and they get away with this powerful skull. We cut then to New York City, where we're introduced to our love interest, Diana Palmer, who is investigating our villain, the power-hungry businessman, Xander Drax. I'm going to stop right here for a second. Xander Drax is the best fucking part of this movie. Treat Williams is living his best life.
What an amazing name. Also, sounds like the name of a fucking wrestler in NXT.
Right.
I even love that line when he puts it out to the Brotherhood. It's like it begins and ends with an X. It's like we should all be so lucky.
Who? Xander Drax. D-R-A-X. It begins and ends with the letter X.
Your new WWE World Champion, Xander Drax.
And yeah, Treat Williams is not an overactor from any other role I've seen him in. So, and
very demure.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know what the director did to get him to just come out of his shell for this.
Well, he was watching. He was watching Dick Tracy, and he took 2 bumps of cocaine, as Mark had suggested, and then boom, off to filming the Phantom.
There was a person on set who was in charge of making sure he didn't have a coke mustache.
Right. you missed the spot there.
It's like, go dust his face. All right, action.
Yes. So Diana Palmer's in investigating Xander Drax, and trying to find out what he's up to, and what his connection is to this mysterious spiderweb symbol, which we know is the symbol of the Sang Brotherhood. We find out that the police commissioner is corrupt, which actually does not play any more into the story except for this one moment. It's like, oh no, he works for Drax. Bye. So Diana decides to go instead of her uncle because her uncle's old as shit. So Diana's trip, though, is stopped by Drax's female air pirates led by Sala, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones. Diana is
what might be her best role ever.
Right. I like her in Mask of Zorro.
Nah.
I
Next up on
would
trial,
not have expected that reaction out of you, Mark.
right?
Because she's so over the top, silly, and villainous in this. Like I don't know. I don't want to get off on a tangent. You're in the middle of a plot synopsis, and who does that to somebody?
Right.
However, I don't see actors really going for it anymore. You know, there's a lot of like safe directing, a lot of safe performances, and it's rare, especially in mainstream cinema. Like you might see something like in an A24 or an indie feature, but I think we're just subjected to a lot of very safe performances, and Catherine Zeta-Jones really goes for it in this one, more so than she did in the Mask of Zorro. She's giving good, solid performance. Here, there was a lot of freedom in her performance and the direction that she got, which I really appreciated.
That's fair. Yeah, no, and I will definitely give you that. But anyway, so Diana is kidnapped by Sala and then taken back to their secret headquarters, where she's rescued by the Phantom and returns to his headquarters, the Skull Cave. The Phantom sends her back safe and sound in New York and technically follows her, but this time he's in his alter ego as Kit Walker. Once they meet with Diana, they've figured out about the skulls. They go to the Museum of History, where Drax is also there, gets the second skull, which with the two skulls brought together that he has, shows him the location of the third one. They take Kit to be executed because he knows too much, and they kidnap Diana because they've already had to deal with the Phantom so many times, which again leads us to one of the best scenes in the movie after Drax gets the first skull and is talking with Catherine Zeta-Jones. And it's like, oh, this is so beautiful. Yeah, I cleaned it off with some toothpaste. It shined right up. Toothpaste. That's nice. But my all-time favorite line, sorry, just because we're talking about the scene, is when he shows them the paper of the fan, basically what went wrong, and they're like, he's like, what went wrong? He's like, well, something you weren't expecting. Really? What was that? The Phantom. I thought that was just some sort of jungle myth. Oh no, he's real. I know, because I've killed him. But he isn't dead. That doesn't make sense. And it's just the love Treat Williams' face as he tries to break the numbers down in his head for that scene. But again, it's a fantastic scene. But anyways,
yeah. I would say I just love the line at the end. You stabbed him in the back. I underestimated you. But yeah, so Kit is able to change into the Phantom and follow Drax and his henchmen into the island known as the Devil's Vortex, where we once again meet the Sang Brotherhood. Remember when I said they'd be our last-minute villains, like they didn't set their alarm? This is when they show back up. So we are revealed that there is actually a fourth skull, since the pirates have the third one, but there's the fourth skull, and the fourth skull controls the power of the other three. The Phantom shows up, fight ensues. Catherine Zeta-Jones is turning to the light side of the Force now and is technically a good guy at the last minute. The Phantom and Quill fight because, again, Quill, we discover, had killed Kit's dad, who was the Phantom before Kit. Another funny scene because the dad shows up throughout the movie as a ghost, and because nobody else can see him, obviously. So Kit's just randomly talking to him in the back of this cab, and the cabbie's like, "The hell is okay?" You got to realize Kit must have given him one hell of a bribe, because every ounce of common sense has got to be telling this cabbie, I am doing something really stupid. I need to get the fuck out of here.
Do give him an entire fucking handful of precious stones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That shit probably paid for his kids' college tuition.
Pretty much. But yeah, so Quill and the Phantom fights. Phantom gets his revenge for his father's death, leading to the big fight with Drax. Oh, by the way, some Sang Brotherhood pirates die. Who gives a shit? Hey, the movie doesn't pay it that much attention. Why the hell should I? But we find out that the skull ring that the Phantom's been wearing the whole time is the fourth skull, which allows him to defeat Drax and narrowly escape the volcanic eruption of the Devil's Vortex in a cool little submarine with Sala and Diana. They return to Bengalo, and Diana reveals to the Phantom that she knows who he is. Kit removes his mask and informs her that the only person he can ever show his true face to is the woman that he plans to marry. So Diana realizes she'll have to come back someday because she does love him, and they kiss, and it's lovely. And she flies off into the sunset while the ghost dad once again narrates and saying that one day Diana will return to Kitts and make another baby phantom. So that is the movie, the long and short of it. So let's get into this craft review of this magnum opus. Alexis, you're first as always.
This movie is the epitome of a guilty pleasure for me because I cannot defend it. There are so many plot holes in this film, so many lines and deliveries that just make no sense whatsoever. I love that the skulls come together and burn the location because there just happens to be a map in the room. It's like, well, thank God there's that. You have the scene of the Phantom rolling out of the elevator to chase after the bad guys, and you have all these people look at him, and then they just turn around. It's like, oh, okay, day that ends in Y, whatever. So what's going on? It's just like no one is reacting to this shit.
We need Rizzo the Rat to just pop up at the bottom of the stream. It's New York.
You know, Catherine Zeta-Jones' character turns good for no reason. Half of Diana's lines are so stupid. What was the line say? Are you crazy? Do you guys know how many laws you've broken? It's like, who the hell talks like that? Seriously. And yeah, I can't defend the purple. I can't. No one can. I get why the character was purple in comics. I get that it was a mistake on the saturation. Whatever.
Could interrupt you for something. You know what the irony of that is? When they dressed all the X-Men in black, everyone's reaction was, "Where are the comic accurate costumes? Why isn't Wolverine in orange and brown or whatever the hell that color was?
Yellow spandex."
Yeah. Or yellow and blue. Like, why isn't Storm wearing her silver costume? And then this is why. It's amazing the MCU got away with it for as long as they did.
Right. It doesn't look good until Deadpool and Wolverine. Continue, Alexis.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I can't... Oh, yeah, how was a horse able to keep up with a plane? There was...
I left that out of the plot breakdown because I was like, one of you motherfuckers has got to bring this up or I will be sorely disappointed.
No, this is a horribly written movie, but I love it. And maybe that's because I watched it all the time as a kid. So, you know, I got the rose tinted glasses looking at it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit we watch growing up when we're younger, not even as little kids, but just when we're teenagers or tweens or whatever, that we look back and we realize I can't hate it. I just can't hate it. No matter how hard we try, no matter how many holes you poke in the logic. I enjoy it. I love Billy Zane. Yeah, I love Tree Williams and Catherine Zeta-Jones just chewing the hell out of the scenery. I remember actually getting freaked out at the scene with the microscope that legit scared me as a kid. That was actually terrifying. So, and I swear to God, I think the Sang Brotherhood got their costumes left over from a Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I mean, one of them was wearing a bandana and a red and white striped shirt, like Mr. Smee. You know, it's like subtlety. What subtlety? Subtlety is for cowards.
Mr. Smee's got tired of Captain Hook shit and decided to join a real
band of pirates.
I'm tired of trying to kill a pubescent boy. Fuck Jim.
Hell, even the whole line, the ghost who walks. I don't care if that is from the comic or not. That line makes no sense as a description. You know, it's just, okay, so the ghost walks. What?
As opposed to the ghost who floats.
Yeah, but I really like this.
It's supposed to be an actual reference to Ghost because I figured, because the kid in the movie called white people Ghost. Like, I figured it was just a weird way to say some white dude that runs around here.
Well, the whole idea behind that is that, as the intro explains to us, the mantle of the Phantom has been passed from father to son, and the costume covers most of their face. So to any of the enemies, it would seem like we just shot him like in the head 2 days ago. What the fuck? So it's the whole idea of like he's died, but like his ghost has returned to haunt people. So that's the whole point
Yeah.
of Ghostly Walks.
Oh, I also want to give a shout out to James Remar, plays Quill. Remar is one of my favorite character actors. He has been in so much stuff, and I love it when he comes on. It's so weird. It's like a lot of people know him as Dexter's dad from the Dexter TV series, Hellraiser 5. He was a recurring character for a few seasons in Sex and the City, but I've seen him in so much. He's just one of those actors that pops up all the time. And it's like a Where's Waldo thing. So I love that this movie, we actually got to see him play more of not a leading role, but a more substantial role than just I'm here, I'm dead.
Right. No, and I would absolutely agree with that. Alexis, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
I think I've said everything I need to say. Like I said, I legit like this movie, and I will never be able to defend it.
So Mark, over to you.
I think it's a fun romp through the jungle. Again, if you're into the sort of 1930s pulpy action adventure, white savior goes to the jungle type stories. Old Tom Swift, the kind of stuff Steven Spielberg jerks off over. Yeah, him and George Lucas just pulling on each other's wieners, watching white guys in the jungle. They just love it. It's fine. I mean, it's not perfect. It definitely. I don't know if it was the time I was watching it or where I was watching it over the weekend, but it held my interest more than The Shadow did, but not by much.
Okay.
I was kidding around about my son earlier, but to his credit, this stuff kind of works in pulp novels and comic books because of and something I've been thinking about lately is how a medium a character changes per the medium that they're in. They work better here than they do there. And I think the problem now is, 4 quadrants, it has to work here, it has to work here, and it has to work here and here. And sometimes something just works as a comic book. That when you try to adapt it into a movie, strict page to screen, everything looks goofy as shit. It doesn't work. Robert and I have talked about this a lot. The art of the adaptation is sometimes a strict page to the screen adaptation is not going to work, and you have to find a way to make it work. Which I think when you had an audience that was a little bit more tolerable and a little bit more patient of that sort of thing was fine. Now, if you don't make the exact comic book come to life, everyone gets mad at you and goes on Reddit, and it becomes a whole problem. And then studio executives are so goddamn afraid of toxic fans that they're locked into creating the kinds of things that I talked about an hour ago with the CGI dwarves from Snow White. It's like we don't know what to do. We used to have artists do adaptations and you make adult decisions. We don't have that anymore. So I'm looking at this. That's the point I'm trying to make. It does look silly that he's running around in this ridiculous outfit in the jungle. And I'm wondering if there was a discussion about, is there any way we can make this slightly more realistic? Well, no. Then he's not the Phantom anymore. And then why are we doing this? I don't know. Great question. Why are you doing this? Because it's fine as a cartoon. It's fine as a comic book. Here's a thought, and hear me out on this. Not everything has to be a fucking movie.
True.
I'll give you another example of this, and then I'll cede the rest of my time to Chae, because we are running long here.
A little bit, yeah.
Nicolas Cage, the test shots of Nicolas Cage in the outfit of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not look at that and go, abandon ship? Whatever we're doing here, stop.
See, I want that movie. I wanted it so bad because, I feel like, again, with movies like this coming out in the 90s and just the 3 we just talked about, we would have had to turn this into a quad feature. We're like, we have to talk about Superman Lives by Tim goddamn Burton just to piss Mark off.
I got a better one for you, Mark. Halle Berry in the Catwoman costume. Because I still remember the day that was on the cover of the Rolling Stone magazine, and we got a copy of that I remember someone had it in our classroom. We all looked at it, and we were all going, "How the hell has somebody looked at this and said, yeah, let's give them money to make a movie about that?"
Let me tell you, if you forget that that's supposed to be DC's Catwoman, and you just think it's a Roger Corman B movie, Catwoman works just fine.
Oh yeah.
Sean and I, it was one of the first on trials we did, and I insisted we do Catwoman. It was kind of like when we first started the on trial podcast, like I told you this in one of our conversations, Dorian, I had a short list of movies I wanted to defend, and Catwoman was one of them. I'll die on that hill. That is a great B movie feature. It is an underappreciated with this ship. It is an underappreciated gem. If you do enough drugs that you can forget that that's supposed to be Catwoman from the comics.
Right.
And it's just a crazy Catwoman lady, and it's fine. It's slightly BDSM and weird.
Yeah, no, because I did find out, and sorry, just real quick about Catwoman.
Yeah.
Somebody was talking about this, and I did some research on it. There's literally a picture. It's like a behind the scenes photo of Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman on the desk of the teacher. The professor that she goes and talks to. So it's like, see, same universe. It's like, oh, fuck you.
I know what you're talking about. It's the scene where all the photos are laid all over the floor. If you look closely, it's like partially obscured, but you can clearly see it's the Catwoman cowl.
Nothing makes me want to bully a person more and hurt them than the word cinematic universe. I'm just so over that. Anyway, the point of this long rambling rant was to say it's a fine enough pulpy movie if you can really pump up your suspension of disbelief. However, without that, this is impossible to get through, and it's a really good lesson in, hey, let's look at some dailies and make some adult decisions about whether or not we want to go through with this.
Hey, Jay? Dad, why the fuck is he in purple? He's in the jungle.
yeah. Maybe, you know what? Maybe like hire like a group of kids that are as smart and as insightful as my son and cynical. If you can find that combination of kids and be like, here, watch some of these dailies. What the fuck is this? And they're all like on TikTok. All right, we're pulling the green light from this movie. We're killing this.
I just love all the horrible movies.
Hang on. The new phrase for the Radulich Broadcasting Network in 2025, don't be afraid to kill the movie. Now go, Alexis.
I was just saying, of all the movies you have showed your son, I love that the hill that he is finally willing to die on is Billy Zane in purple spandex. It's like everything that child you have put him through, and that's his breaking point.
I showed him the scene, because it's on YouTube, of Harvey Keitel pulling over the two girls in Bad Lieutenant. And he looked at me and was like, why would you show me this? And I'm like, because I sometimes mumble, come on, you, show me your tits. And no one knows why I'm saying it. And I'm doing Harvey Keitel from Bad Lieutenant, and I have to provide context. Only father on earth to show the 10-year-old a clip from Bad Lieutenant. I'm proud of myself. All right, Shay, follow that shit.
Honestly, I don't have much to say. This was a movie. The locations were beautiful. The costumes were really pretty. Billy Zane is really pretty.
Billy Zane's a pretty man.
It's like, wasn't that? Wait, that was the line from Tombstone. Remember, prettiest man I ever did.
I ever saw.
Yes.
It looks like she's about to force Ghost out of here.
But other than that, it just, for some reason, it just didn't grab me. I think the most entertaining thing I got out of this movie was the end scene Schwartz fight. The ring and the bomb.
You have the ring. I see that your Schwartz is as big as mine.
It's not the size of the Schwartz, it's how you use it. Yeah.
Shit, I hate it when I get my Schwartz twisted.
Let's see how you use it.
Shoot. He did it.
What?
also my favorite thing in Spaceballs.
But anyways, Jay, do you have anything else, or are you just is your brain just done?
My brain's just done.
Okay.
I can see
I'm
the
tired.
I can see the toast with the butter on that shit. Let's take her home.
Right. I did have some small bits of funny trivia about this movie I wanted to share with you guys just because I knew you'd get a kick out of it. In the 1970s, pre-production began on a low-budget Phantom feature to be shot in Mexico, with the 1966 Batman star Adam West in the title role. However, there were issues with the character rights and the film was scrapped. See, somebody was smart enough to kill the movie.
There used to be adults working in Hollywood.
Here's the one that, again, I know especially Alexis and Chae are going to go, the fuck? Bruce Campbell and Kevin Smith were considered for the role of the Phantom.
I really wish I could see Bruce Campbell in his heyday as the Phantom.
500-pound
Kevin Smith back when he was still fat?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I don't. Yeah.
How are you gonna get his fat ass into the fucking spandex? You look like a turducken.
I also read that same trivia. Apparently, Joel Schumacher was considered to direct this. Can we all have a moment? Okay, rest in peace, Schumacher. Lost Boys is still one of my favorite vampire movies.
Oh yeah.
But can we all have a moment to thank whatever powers that be that we did not get Joel Schumacher as the Phantom?
I disagree. I want Joel Schumacher. And
I'm
Kevin
kind of
Smith
excited
in the
to
Phantom
see an
movie.
alternate universe
Yes.
where Phantom nipples exist.
Yes. Kevin Smith in a fucking garbage bag and pasties.
It's a purple.
You know,
Yes.
and you know, Sala would be dressed in like scandalous lingerie the whole time while she was a
Let's
pilot.
lean into this. Let's get the girl who played Precious in there. You know, like Chris Foley. You know, who else? What are the fat ass gonna be getting these movies?